It's the 1st of July and we've got a cold change sweeping up the country. Hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us. Well, we've got this cold change moving into both islands. Temperatures are below average around about 75% of the country, but I'm going to point out which areas are not below average. That is Southland, the West Coast, Nelson, Bay of Plenty, and parts of Northland. Those areas pretty much bang on normal for this time of the year. Those that are the coldest along the eastern side, Canterbury, especially North Canterbury, Wairarapa and Hawke's Bay, they're really taking the brunt of this cold southerly. And this is the temperature map. So the blue areas, which you can see through the South Island, below zero when this was taken, which is for lunchtime Wednesday. But look at Antarctica, that's the real cold stuff down there. So we're not as bad as that. And this is not an Antarctic blast. When you track the origins of this southerly, it's coming from sort of out of the Southern Ocean near Antarctica, but it's not coming straight off the ice shelf. So that's why it's cold, but not too cold. So this is how we look rainfall-wise across the next 24 hours. Those same areas that are colder than our average around Canterbury and up around Wairarapa, that's where the bulk of the rain and snow is falling today. So this is the rain map. The areas that you see around in sort of that orange colouring, that's around about 25, 30 millimetres of rain. The areas with the blue on the outer edges, that's at the very bottom of the scale, just a few showers. So that's the rain map. Snow-wise, there's actually a fair bit of snow on its way through the inland part of the North Island and also up around the Kaikoura Ranges and North Canterbury. The area there in pink, after that dark area there of 10 to 15, that's a good way of measuring it. When you see that dark line, you're sort of going beyond that into the pink zones, and that is basically telling us 25 centimetres of snow potentially falling in those areas. Same story around Mount Turupehu and around the Wellington Wairarapa region, maybe 10 to 15 centimetres up there on the ranges. So it's a cold day around central New Zealand in particular, and windy as well. This is going into Thursday. Strong gale force winds. The areas in red are gale force. You've got this other area going sort of into the 80 k an hour range. So that's a pretty solid wind blowing through. So Hawera, Wanganui, Masterton, Wellington, as well as Kaikoura, you're all going to feel that cold weather coming through. Hamner Springs probably had some beautiful snow falling around it. Beautiful time to be going there. So let's get into the forecast. Thursday doesn't see a great deal of change. You've still got that southerly howling through and especially affecting the eastern side of the North Island. Those strong winds that I just showed you for Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, they're up around Hawke's Bay, they're up around Gisborne, and Bay of Plenty will be feeling them as well, coming over the hills. It should be sunnier, but pretty windy coming through there. Meanwhile, high pressure's building in the south. You've got some big frosts on the way, and they'll start as early as Thursday night, and Friday morning when you wake up, they'll be pretty big. So -4s and 5s, maybe -6 even somewhere through the mountains. The North Island might also be a little bit frosty when that high comes through, maybe more so on Friday night, Saturday morning, as the system comes through and the southerly finally fades away from that eastern side. But here's the twist. On Saturday morning, the high up here is now dragging down subtropical weather for the North Island. What a change. So we go from that cold southerly to a mild subtropical nor'wester, which means Wairoa, Hawke's Bay, East Coast, Wairarapa, you're going to have a beautiful Saturday as those winds ramp up and the warmth comes back. Similar story around Canterbury, although the clouds will thicken up with that rain over on the West Coast. And by the time we reach Sunday, that front is moving into the North Island. It's got downpours with it. There might be an isolated thunderstorm, hard to kind of lock it in, but you've got that warm subtropical side giving way to a colder change, and there's a bit of low pressure in there as well. So that's the forecast through until Sunday. For more details, please visit ruralweather.co.nz. It's the world's largest weather data website for New Zealand, so please check it out, ruralweather.co.nz. I'll see you again tomorrow.